Hello, ATs, receiving students and teachers. Thank you. Take your seats. Receiving students and teachers, I hope you're all ready for today's lesson. So as the model class, sitting up straight, we will move on to what we have to do for today's lesson. You to quickly have a look at these pictures that I will show to you. Right? We are on the topic, how does a crystal look like? And this is the same topic from our previous lesson, part 2. Right? These are examples of different kinds of crystals. Crystals can form naturally, meaning they can come from nature, or they can be grown from solutions, like we have done in our last lesson. Okay, this is a calcite crystal that you can see, and calcite crystal, and the next one here is allium crystals. Okay, and some of the crystals are minerals where they are used for different things, or different things are made from these crystals. Another picture that we can see, another two pictures, a large quartz crystal. And you know that quartz is used to make watches and clocks. Therefore, you see the name quartz written. Is that true? Some of you have, if you have watches or your parents have watches, you will see the name quartz. And the other one, this has been magnified. This is a cubical salt crystals or sodium chloride crystals. Okay, it has been magnified. However, the color isn't black and yellow. It's white or glassy looking. So this is a sodium chloride crystal that has been seen under a microscope. So like I have mentioned earlier, crystals can grow naturally, and they can also grow from solutions. Now I'd like someone to describe the process in which we have made crystals in our last lesson. What did we do? What was the first step, and so forth? Receiving students, tell your teacher. Model class, anyone that can remember the process in which we made copper sulfate solution and sodium chloride solution? We use, and what did we do? Come on, I know many of you have the answer. Let's listen to one of you.
We used heat, and the method that we used, we did fast evaporation.
Okay, very good. And what kind of solution did we use to grow those crystals? In our previous lesson, someone gave us the name that describes that kind of solution. Class, what is it called? Saturated solution. Right, so we had two solutions that were saturated, which were copper sulfate solution and sodium chloride saturated solutions. Good. Now you also describe the size, the shape, the size and the shape of the crystal, so as the color. We didn't look much at the color, but the two obvious colors were blue and white. Right? Blue for which crystal? Copper sulfate, and the white one for sodium chloride crystal. All right. Class, in today's lesson, we are going to make a model of a sodium chloride crystal. In our previous lesson, you were told to, for the schools that have received their workbook, receiving students, you will make your model from these two sheets of papers at the back. Okay, you will have figure A and figure B. Right? So figure A, you should have 2 sheets of figure A and 2 sheets of figure B. You were also told to color the circles, the small circles and the big circles. I hope you all have done that. For the schools that do not have these sheets, you will follow the model class as they go through making the model of a sodium chloride crystal. Now, looking up here on the whiteboard, this is what I have done, and I have shown you these samples yesterday, in our previous lesson. Figure A, you should have 2 sheets, and this is figure B. Now, everybody should be ready now with their pair of scissors, glue, and a ruler. Step number 1, you are to color the circles that you would find in your worksheet book. The steps on how to make the crystal would be, you would follow that in your worksheet book. Now, the next step that I want you to do, I want you to use your scissors and cut around the edges of the figure A and figure B. Looking up here, this is what you should do. You cut anywhere on the sides of, start cutting anywhere from the sides of this figure. You cut along the edges, down this way, cut across, up, back this way, up, and there you would complete cutting the figure A. So do the same for figure A and figure B, right? So students of the receiving schools and the model class, I will now allow you to cut through the edges of the figure A and figure B. Be very careful. I do not want you to cut where the dotted lines are. Please, you cut all the way down where it says glue, all the way around it and go up. Yes, that's it. That's figure B. Okay, no time to mark color. After you make your solid, you color. You can use this one here. Or you, where's your? But you can cut. Later you can. No, start cutting because we are going to go through the steps now. And I'd like you to follow. How many so far? It's not sharp. Okay, you wait for him to finish, yes. Okay, where's the other one? Later you can work on one. It's up to you. All right, by now you should have finished cutting probably two figure A's completely cut, the edges. And you should now be cutting figure B, the edges of figure B. For those of us that haven't finished, you can help your desk mate or your table mate. You can work together. All right, let me see how many of us have finished cutting the 4 sheets of paper, 2 figure A and 2 figure B. Okay, like I said, those of us that did not do our homework by coloring the circles, you can work with the person sitting next to you, the one that has already completed coloring the circles. All right, shall we move on to the next step? All right, we saw that first you are to color the circles, which you have done already. The second step, you are to cut the two parts with the scissors. You are to cut along the edges for figure A and figure B. The next step, I'd like you to have a look at those figures. You will see dotted lines and solid lines, or lines that are not dotted. They are drawn or bold lines on the figures. All right, so if you look up here and see carefully the figure, you will see dotted lines and solid lines. Can you see the dotted lines? And the solid lines, you will see numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the other solid lines do not have numbers. Okay, so what I meant here, this is a solid line. The line going across here are dotted lines. Solid all the way here. This is a solid line that starts from here and stops here. And at the bottom, this is another solid line that starts all the way here and it goes and stops here. And another solid line on this side that goes all the way up here and stops here. And there is another one here that goes all the way up here. That's for figure A. Figure B, you will also see that a solid line that runs from the bottom all the way to the top end. That's one solid line here, another one here, and another one running up that way. So what you are going to do for figure A, be very careful. You cut through the solid line and stop where it stops. Is that clear? And do the same for figure B. Okay? Cut the solid lines here. Don't go all the way through. You stop where it stops. Just find the solid lines and cut through. And don't cut all the way. You stop where it stops. Okay? So for this here, you cut this way and stop here. Cut here, stop. Do the same for the other side. Thank you. That's it. Stop. Don't go all the way. You should have another scissors to cut the other one. Stop where it stops. Don't go all the way up. Don't cut through the dotted lines. I mean, don't cut on the dotted line. Stop there. That's it. For this one, you still have to go all the way up. Then turn it around and do the same for the other side. That's it. Okay? All the way up. You cut where the solid lines are, and you, for figure A, you will not cut right through. You will stop cutting where the lines are. Here, you have to continue here, here, stop, all the way, stop here. For this one, you cut all the way right through. For figure B, this is figure B, this is figure A. Okay. Yes. And B. For figure B, you will have to cut right through. For figure B, you will cut right through, okay? And you will have strips of papers. Whereas figure A, you will not cut right through. You only cut through the solid lines. Cut this out. We are not coloring, we should be cutting by now. That's it, okay. Bring yours. Where's the other one? All right, class. I am holding figure A, and this is how your figure A should look like. You should have cut through the solid lines this way. The top should be looking like this, and the bottom one should be like this. You should have cut through the solid lines and stop not onto the dotted lines. Okay, that's for figure A. Figure B should look like this. You should cut through, and you should have these strips of papers for figure B. Okay. You should have 4 for sheet 1 for figure B and 4 for the other sheet. Altogether, how many strips? 8. You should have 8 strips. Okay. All right, let's move on to the last, some other steps. All right, class, you will be watching a short video, and from that video, you are going to complete the rest of the steps.
You should have 2 complete cut paper A and paper B complete cut, which you will have 8 strips of paper. On the paper you will see dotted lines. Our next step is to fold the paper on the dotted lines. Using a ruler, you fold the dotted lines. Just mark where the dotted lines are. Turn over the paper and fold backwards. Your paper should be folded and should look like this after you fold it in. Do the same with the rest of the 7 strips. Paper A. Again, looking at the dotted lines, mark with the ruler and fold on the dotted line carefully. Turn over the paper and you fold back. So you should have your papers folded, paper A folded in this way. Our next step is to glue the edges. Where it says glue, put some glue on it and we'll glue it together. Figure A. Now we will use the glue to connect figure A together. Where it says glue, we apply glue there and connect. Now figure A has an overlap. If you look closely, figure A has an overlap. When folding, when gluing, the glue should go right under the overlap and let this overlap be free. So you have completed one strap of the model. Do the same with the rest of the strap for figure A. There you have a complete glued part of figure A. Figure B, you have single straps, which again you glue where it is labeled glue. So you will have one complete this. You will do the same with the other 7 strips. Right, you have 8 strips which are cut and glued together from figure B.
Where it says glue, you use the glue on those areas, then you join it with the other piece. You have an overlap there. Make sure that you place the part that you have glued carefully so you don't place it where the overlap is. The overlap should be loose. Where did you glue? Put the glue here. Then this is what you do, you place it here. So this one overlaps, see? Alright class, if you are still lost looking here, this person has glued this part, the student, and you bend it over and you will see an overlap here, overlap. You don't glue this where the overlap, no, you leave the overlap loose and you go below that and you glue so you can have this overlap on its own. Is that clear? Right? Where it says glue, you place the glue here and then you go this way. Sorry, you go this way. And this one overlaps. Okay. That's why I said fold where the dotted lines are. If I remove that, it's going to make a lot of noise and we will find it hard to put it back. So you see what she did? That's it. That's the way. And then do the same for the others. Once you have done that, you do the same for the others. Glue, place the glue and glue the ends together. And you will have a column. Good, like that student over there. Can you stand up with yours and show it to the class? Okay, that's it, something of that sort. Stand again. Thank you. All right, let's continue.
Figure A, you should have 2 tubes cut for figure A. Now observe, figure A has overlaps. This overlap will be attached to the other figure A where there is a triangle marker on the second tube, square tube, the marker of the with the triangle. Glue the overlap, then you attach it to the other square tube where the marker is. We have one done and the second one to attach. Same, apply glue on the overlap. Find the marker on the other square tube. The triangle is the marker, and you attach this. You should have a complete rectangle shape now.
Right, what you are doing now, you are going to join the 2 columns together. Right, you will join them together by gluing the overlap and joining it with the other figure.
Carefully fit in the straps, square straps, into the cube. Make sure that when you're fitting in, this pattern should be joined together or should fit in correctly into the pattern. You should carefully fit in so that the larger circle on both sides are the same, as the smaller circle the same on each corner. You have inserted 2, there are other 6 more you need to insert.
Alright, what he's doing now is inserting or putting the cubes into the 2 columns. You can see spaces there. The spaces there are for you to put in the cubes. Right, let's see, for those that have been following, we will see if you have now made the model of a sodium chloride crystal. Make sure that the circles match each other. This is a white one. Then okay, next one. Make sure that you will make sure that all the cubes are all fitted into the two columns. None of them should be left out. Good. I think we have a couple of students in the class that have done that correctly. They have completed their models. All right, let's see how many of us have finished fitting in all the cubes into the two columns. All right, those of us finished, I'd like you to stand with your models and hold them up so the rest of the class plus the receiving students would see your model. Receiving students, if you have done yours as well, please stand up and show your model to the other students in your class. All right, let's see. Thank you. Yes, okay, you can open it, you can fold it back again. Good. All right, so some of you are almost there. Very good. It's only Jacobed that has a complete sodium chloride crystal. All right, let's have a look at the last part of this short video.
We have one part of the cube complete. There you have a complete model of crystal of sodium chloride. Before you do, check that larger circles and the smaller circles are joined together. So let's check if they're joined. Let's open up. Smaller particles, the larger particles. So this is a crystal model of sodium chloride. Larger particles are sodium ions, and the smaller or yellow colored particles are chloride.
All right, that is the complete model of a sodium chloride crystal. However, we cannot see the particles of the salt or salt particles, but we use a model like this. We use a model like this to help us understand how the particles are arranged in a sodium chloride crystal. All right, you were given a homework to look up the meaning of this word ion. Right? If you have, what did you come across? Or what is the definition of this word ion? Anyone came up with the meaning of, yes, thank you, our friend here. Quickly read the meaning of the word ion.
An atom or a molecule with positive or negative electric charge caused by its losing or gaining one or more electrons.
All right, thank you. Very good. That is the definition of the word ion. All right. Now, looking at this model, you will find that ions have either positive or negative charges, electrical charges. So this is a sodium chloride crystal, and it is made up of two elements, that is sodium and chlorine. Right? And when those two elements come together, they make the compound sodium chloride, which is a salt. Now this crystal has those two elements, and the smaller circles here represents the positive charges of sodium, and the larger circle here represents the negative charges of chlorine. Okay, so again, I repeat myself, the smaller circles represent the positive charges of ions, and the bigger circles here represent the, or larger circle represent the negative charges of chlorine ions. Okay. Now, we will look at an illustration quickly, and we will come to the end of our lesson. Right? I have a diagram here to show to you again, just to illustrate how these particles come together to give the shape of a sodium chloride crystal. When you have a saturated solution, what happens to the particles? The salt particles come together and they form a cubical shape. And as they grow, more particles come together again. They add on, forming layers and keeping the cubic shape. Therefore, you will find that all sodium chloride crystals won't come in circle shapes, rectangle, or any other shapes. They will always be in cubical, or they will have a cubical shape. Remembering that we know that particles come together and give the shape of the sodium chloride crystal. Right, your summary, you will copy that summary in your next lesson. In your next lesson, your summary will be taken, or you will copy that down. Right? Our keyword for today is sodium chloride crystal. Class, our next lesson will be on make your own drink. And these are the materials that you will be bringing or using for that lesson. Strainer, tita well, kitchen knife, sugar, fruits, plants, example, noni, pawpaw, pineapple, lemon, chopping board, bowls, water, and cups if possible. Right? So, receiving teacher, please make sure that your students bring the necessary materials for our next lesson. With that, thank you class for participating.